If you like the channel and want to see more episodes, hit the like and subscribe button, please. September 2014 was the best of times for Barb Zirilli's family.
We had like all this happiness around us, you know. They sold the Philly house, we opened, Chucky got married.
The Philadelphia transplants saw an untapped market for Italian ice in Cape Coral, Florida.
There was no water ice. You know, I could go to Rita's in Fort Myers, but it's Rita's and it's Fort Myers.
She found the spot.
When I first walked into this place, I could just feel it. I knew that this was going to be my location.
The timing was right.
And at that point, I was armed. I had a lot of information. I did my homework.
And her parents were right there to help.
My dad was definitely my biggest supporter. When I went to him with my idea, you know, he was ready to rock and roll.
They put the blood, sweat, and tears into remodeling the storefront on Pine Island Road. It was the best of times.
Mom and Dad. So,
And
I guess this would be the emotional part of the story.
Florida, the new melting pot. 1,000 people move here every day. They're bringing their families, their traditions, and their stories. I'm one of them. I'm Junior. I've spent a lifetime in the food business. In Northeast Philly, you might remember the Ginocati. Now I'm here. Florida is not known for food, but maybe it should be. I'm discovering something. Buried in these strip malls, with their pastel paint and stucco walls, artists are at work, and they want to talk to Junior.
Hey guys, what can I get for you?
Teaching can be in your blood. You may not realize it,
Single scoop?
but your own story
Bring them up.
can teach others how to live.
I look at my employees like they're my own kids, just like I did in my preschool classroom. Those kids were my kids during the day. They'd hug me, kiss me, tell me they love me, and I sent them home at the end of the day. I feel the same way with my employees.
Barb Zirilli is a teacher.
They're my kids. I look out for them. I try to give them advice. I try to steer them in the right direction. I try to give them that foundation with good, solid work ethic.
And if you're fortunate enough to walk through the doors of Zirilli's, you'll learn why they say it's made with love.
Their love, their influence is what keeps me going. Everything that we've done in here has been done all with our own hands. Like, we didn't need contractors. It was me, my mom, my dad.
Zirilli's Chili Treats welcomed customers for the first time, and Barb is riding that nervous electricity of making it. Years of planning, months of construction, Dad carefully measuring, hammering, and sawing.
Their love is here. You know, my dad put so much into this for me. I couldn't let this fail. About 6 weeks or so after we opened, he was at home and he was opening up the attic for the DirecTV guy, and he fell from the ladder and he suffered a severe brain trauma. He was in a vegetative state. Being open only, 2 months or so, and then going through all of this, Dad's there but not there. I would go and I'd sit with him in the morning, I'd hold his hand, I would sing. It's the only thing I knew to do. I would put music on, our favorite songs, his favorite songs. I'd get him to squeeze my hand from time to time. He'd wiggle his toes to some of the music, so I know he was in there, but I just couldn't get out.
He helped her start her dream. But Barb is now running Zirilli's without his guidance.
My dad was my biggest influencer. He was my right-hand man. He was my rock. He was my supporter. He was the business guy. He was the brains. He knew all this. I'm a preschool teacher. I don't know anything about running a business.
They're hanging get well signs on the wall, praying for his recovery. Her other teacher, Mom, is at the hospital holding his hand.
About 12 days after, my mom was sitting with him at the hospital. I was here getting ready to open. It was a Sunday morning, turning the ices. And my doctor, who was a good friend of ours, she went to grade school with my brother, happens to be a doctor down here, She calls me and she says, you need to get your mom downstairs to the ER. And I said, what are you talking about, Michelle? I just left her. I'm at the shop opening. She said, I just spoke to your dad's nurse and your mom's not well. She needs to get downstairs. Come to find out, we diagnosed her with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and it's already spread throughout her whole body.
As she's in the hospital visit,
Sitting with my dad, who's in a vegetative state. 4 months after we opened, I lost both of them 15 days apart.
How do you recover from something like that? How do you find the motivation to go back to the long hours and grueling demands of the store you just opened? Nobody would have blamed Barb for throwing in the towel.
I could have very easily just curled up in a ball and locked myself in a padded room. I mean, there were days that it was tough, you know, we're brand new, nobody's really coming in, you know. Some days you were lucky you broke $100. It's discouraging, you know, but my dad gave me great advice as we went through this. He said, you know, bad shit's gonna happen, shit that is out of your control. You can't let it stop you. If you can't change it or fix it, you gotta let it go and keep moving forward. And he drilled that in my head over and over and over about business. And then when everything happened, I stopped and I went, his advice isn't about business, it's about life.
Sometimes it's just in your blood.
So right after my mom died, you know, you're going through family photos, you know, and doing all this stuff. I come across the family tree book. My great-great-grandmother, who was born in Italy, she moved to England and then eventually moved here to the United States. And the cover letter written about her, you know, tells about her life and all her children and getting here. It says that Raquel was most famously known for making homemade lemon ice and selling it outside of her house on South 6th Street in Philadelphia in the early 1900s. And to see the struggle, she had lost her husband when he was very young, so she's raising like 6 kids on her own. They're part of the story. She's climbing up on her roof and fixing the shingles on her roof by herself. You know, so as we're going through all of this struggle and turmoil and grief, here comes this woman who I have no idea who she is, who used to make lemon ice, and I go, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. You know, it was that confirmation of, this is gonna be okay, you know, and who would have thought it was in my blood all this time and I never knew it.
The lessons Dad taught her are now passed on to her students. The kids that come through the door for their summer fix of Italian ice, and the high schoolers she employs.
Some of them have been coming in for 7 years. You know, so I get to interact with them, I get to influence them, I get to watch them grow. You know, one little girl, I'm pretty friendly with her family. She got up for her VPK graduation 2 years ago and she said, hi, my name is Hannah and I'm 5 years old and when I grow up, I'm gonna work at Barbara's ice cream shop. So big. I still feel like I'm in education even though I'm not.
At Zirilli's?
It's our story. It's what made us who we are. You know, we have the Made with Love in our logo. That wasn't originally there. That came as this story played out.
They've been making it with love since they arrived off the boat.
Because when I come here and I look at everything in here, this is their love. Everything you see, everything you touch, their hands have touched. You know, I couldn't have done this without them.